South Dakotans work hard. So does the state's Department of Labor and Regulation, helping South Dakotans achieve the best possible employment.
Action plans to each person individually. Everybody's different. Everybody has a different background.
That's definitely true of the South Dakotans featured in this video. Each was pointed toward a job, but that's just part of their stories. Assessment, help with schooling, on-the-job training wages, even new glasses and tires are elements of these stories, all made possible by the Department of Labor and Regulation. This is Gerald Buck, diesel mechanic at Salem Tractor in Salem.
I actually wanted to do this when I was about 9-10 years old.
But his life took some twists and turns.
I left school when I was pretty young. I just had some issues with getting laid off and couldn't find a job, and I decided I needed to do something with my career, and something, you know, not having a high school diploma really kind of made things a struggle for me.
He was a single parent trying to get his GED and was at risk of not finishing that program because he could not afford the transportation to come up to Madison to complete that.
So I always kept my line of communication open up with Brenda, and they were able to help me out, you know, with getting fuel. There was a time that I literally had no tires on the front end of my car and had no way to get to class, and they bought some tires for me.
When Gerald finally got his diploma, I wanted him just to go get a job because it was going to be so much easier.
But that's not where I wanted to stop with my education.
His dream was to become a certified diesel mechanic. He had a goal, he just didn't have the means to get to that goal. With Department of Labor and Regulation, we were able to succeed for him, or to provide for him, that he can not have to worry about those small things that would normally get in someone's way.
I always had high spirits for stuff, but you know, when you're down at the bottom, your spirits are always way down.
Gerald gained a better way to support his family, and South Dakota gained a dedicated mechanic who will serve the ag community for years.
I use Gerald a lot for an example to those students that I see struggling, that you're never too old, you should never give up. Always look at what it is you want and then just do it. And we're here to help if we can help. That's what we're for.
I was a role model in a lot of ways, you know, even for my children. My children's grades improved so much just from me going to school.
Across the state in Rapid City, Claudia Murphy had an impressive resume.
I had worked previously as a civil engineering technician for 14 years and then made the switch to architectural for 7 years.
Still, her job was cut due to the recession, making Claudia a displaced worker.
I contacted the Department of Labor at that point in time, obviously for unemployment benefits, but didn't really look into any other programs they had. Would get up in the morning, get dressed like I was going to a job, resumes in hand, and I would just go to businesses. It didn't take me long to discover that the job market was pretty tight.
Claudia returned to the Department of Labor and Regulation and learned there was possible employment suited to her background at Dream Design International.
Our company is a company that specializes in community planning and land development.
Today, Claudia is a valued employee at this Rapid City company.
She specializes in a AutoCAD software program, Civil 3D. It's top of the line, it's industrial standard.
Yet, it was this technology that could have been a stumbling block for Claudia had it not been for Department of Labor and Regulation funding available to cover her wages as she learned the software.
The time frame that the company itself provides to learn this software is 2+ years. It's not fair to our clients to bill a full hour's worth of time for somebody that's maybe 10% productive.
I didn't feel a lot of pressure to be 100% productive immediately. So we settled upon, a percentage of my time that would be charged to just training and what would be charged billable time to projects.
Dream Design International landed a top caliber professional, and Kyle admired the professionalism of the Department of Labor and Regulation.
They were there to help us, and every step of the way from the very beginning to the very end.
In Huron, Kabar Jha now has employment he loves at Ferguson Electric. He came to the United States at age 13 as a refugee from Burma, graduated from Huron High School, and completed the electrical program at Nemo Job Corps. But back home at Huron, education alone wasn't opening any employment doors.
They just want to experience people, so it's kind of tough for people like me, you know, just like got out of school and need the job.
Kabar eventually made his way to Huron's Department of Labor and Regulation office.
We happened to contact Ferguson Electric, and they were willing to interview Kabar.
The interview went well. Kabar accepted a job offer, and the Department of Labor and Regulation stepped up with wages covering 500 hours of on-the-job training through a summer opportunities program for youth.
We did run into some obstacles. For example, he needed to do some writing on the job and some reading, and so we needed to help him improve those skills. So at that time, then we referred him over to Cornerstone's Career Learning Center, where he took ESL classes, or English as a second language.
This is not just my second language, it's my third language.
Another item that we ran into while he was working, one of the co-workers thought he was having difficulty reading some of the materials, and that maybe he needed glasses, and we purchased some glasses for him.
When I walked off the curb, I almost fell because for a long time I haven't got my glasses, but I'm really happy I can see stuff, and like at least I don't get pulled over no more.
On the job, Kabar continues to learn his trade.
Which the amp can handle the wire size, stuff like that, you know. So it's kind of nice that I know more and learning every day.
Contract with our home to go out and change a bunch of fixtures out to LED. I went out and showed him one day, and the next day he kind of was on his own, and he did a good job.
I feel like home, you know. They treat me like family.
I think bosses like Norm are kind of rare. That's the plus of a smaller business.
There are 16 Department of Labor and Regulation offices across South Dakota. In Rapid City, the first person many individuals seeking assistance meet is Rebecca Bianis. What's remarkable about Rebecca's story is that just months ago, she came here seeking assistance for herself.
I'm not trying to sound cheesy, but it's the best feeling in the world to be able to help somebody when I was in that position myself.
Rebecca's position was that of a single mother, with 3 small children who were beginning to understand that family finances were dire. They asked Rebecca if things would be okay.
I was scared, but I turned that fear into ambition, and I don't want them to ever have to ask me that question if we were going to be okay.
She had applied and actually gotten a job with one of the grocery stores in their deli because she had this food service background. The only problem was they wanted her to work evenings and weekends. She didn't have child care. So I said, how about applying for TANF? TANF is Temporary Assistance for Needy Families.
I was hesitant to apply for TANF, but I think one of the best things about that is it's temporary.
She finally applied. That went very smoothly.
The Department of Labor and Regulation directed Rebecca to stable housing, child care, and transportation assistance. It helped her enroll in a training program for administrative office assistants at the Career Learning Center of the Black Hills. But it's important to stress the department directed and helped. Rebecca did the work.
She overcame all of her barriers in absolute record time. She just developed all kinds of cheerleaders out here.
I really didn't become aware of Rebecca and the group of cheerleaders, etc., and her situation till I was going through applications. So I started getting a few people stopping by saying that I should, seriously consider this one person for an interview at least. I try to make it very equitable. At that point, everybody's on equal footing.
Rebecca got the job after acing the interview.
Her answers were always looking outside of herself. She talked about how important customers were, how important customer service is, making sure they feel welcome, and how important it is that they know what the agency can offer them.
Rebecca, of course, is only a small part of the Department of Labor and Regulation, but she captures its spirit perfectly. The department's list of services is impressive, ranging from interest inventories and mock interviews to job search classes and national career readiness certification. Still, the agency is much more than a smorgasbord of programs. It's South Dakotans helping fellow South Dakotans.